Yeah.
You're all about not accomplishing shit.
Anyway, we are on.
Oh shit!
I just snagged Greg insulting Saru, being racist towards Saru.
I'm not even racist towards him. He's just the weakest character. in
I'm
Star
glad
Trek
the Mirror
Discovery.
Universe people ate him.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
they
would
did.
be as
Actually,
well.
he probably would be delicious. You see
Oh.
how fast he runs? It's
He's-
probably like solid, like gamey meat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very good. Anyway, welcome to the Nothing of Value podcast. I'm Jeff, joined by
Greg,
and
Doug?
oh, that was very well timed,
look
gentlemen.
at that. It's almost as if we practiced
Yeah.
this like a lot.
Yep.
We
got an
won't
interest-
tell them how many takes that took.
Yeah. We have an interesting show. Lots happened in the last while.
Yeah.
In geek news, just to run down pretty quick, Henry Cavalier, whatever the fuck his name
it
is.
just
I think that's
Cavill?
Greg's joke. I just stole it.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, out as Superman, apparently. Batman's dick shows up in the comics. There's nudity in a comic. I guess
Yep.
we'll talk about that. The biggest news of the week, the Captain Marvel trailer finally dropped. Lots of thoughts about that. We'll continue our DS9 MCU rewatch discussions. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Star Wars will be slowing down. We got that Russo pick that was released. Loki and Scarlet Witch getting their own series and Star Trek miniseries and much more to discuss coming up on the show. So, randomly, where should we start? Well, we should probably start at the Captain Marvel trailer because that was probably the biggest news of the last 2 weeks.
No, save that.
I
Make
think
people
this-
listen to our podcast for a minute.
I think that's the first time you've done a complete run through before we actually started the podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's good. We're 2 for 2. We got the intro down and we got the rundown down, and now we got to actually just. Get
I mean, it
the
only
podcasting
took,
down.
like 28 takes,
Yeah.
right?
well, you've got the rundown down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we
so-
don't need to do that.
Thoughts on the trailer?
Okay. I'll open it up with
You want to?
that old lady had it coming, and I seriously hope she's not a Skrull. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah?
Because that would be hilarious. If like she thinks she's a Skrull, he's like, "Pfft, "Where's the blah blah blah?" And then she's like, "Ah,
Over-
the
okay.
driver."
Okay, so overall, I think that trailer was underwhelming.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Marvel's come out with much better trailers for much less movies than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I like how it didn't really reveal a lot.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, it didn't. I'm still not sure of. Even if I break up every scene in that trailer and try to put it in chronological order, I still can't
Figure out
quite
where it's
figure
gonna go.
out what is what in the movie. So, like, I know they keep jumping from past to probably present,
Mm-hmm.
back to past. So, like, they've done a good job by not revealing a lot in the trailer. But the problem is I'm not super hyped yet about it.
Well, I think the trouble is we're already going to be super hyped for that movie, regardless to what they put out.
Well,
They could have put out like a sandwich on a plate and Brie Larson eating it, and we'd still be discussing.
Funny that he said sandwich, because immediately before that, I was thinking to myself, Captain Marvel is a sandwich in an Avengers sandwich. It's between 2 Avengers movies. Well, if you don't count Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp is the mustard. Infinity War is the first layer of bread, and Avengers 4 is this bottom layer of bread. See?
And she's
Captain
bringing the
Marvel's
meat to the game, is what
She's
you're
the
saying?
meat.
I was going to go with Ant-Man and the Wasp being the cheese.
It is the cheese.
Oh, Greg is
Oh,
good at this
yeah.
The
game.
ball.
Okay,
What did I say it was? Butter, lettuce,
You said it was the
Mustard.
mustard. Oh,
Well,
That's
you know
awful.
what? Well, we had,
So
So,
now I'm
favorite
scared
cheese.
of is that okay, going forward, when I'm not super hyped for a trailer, I have flashbacks to when Batman v Superman trailers were being released, because the first one was really bad. I wasn't into it, and then the second one came out and I wasn't into it, and then the third one came out and it had that huge Batman fight scene with all the thugs.
yeah.
And I got crazy hyped for the movie at that point. Then I went into the movies and I saw it. And that was the only real scene with Batman, which they showed during the trailer.
Yeah.
And it ruined the movie for me.
but at the same time, you've already pointed out, you don't know where all these scenes are. They could be the worst scenes, and you're being shown them right now,
Well,
right?
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm not hyped for it. Next trailer comes out. I might not be hyped for it. Third
Well,
trailer
I mean-
comes out. I get super hyped for it. Like, yes, now I'm into Captain Marvel. Then I go see the movie. and it falls short.
I mean, he's on pattern. This is now the second one. Because I don't know if we consider the first one we saw a true trailer.
Oh, that's not a trailer. That was just a little snippet.
But again,
It wasn't even a teaser. That was that little thing with her in the bikini, just getting all suited up. That's not a teaser.
But again, I don't know if you want to consider it
Well,
because that's what they called
it
it.
was a teaser to nudity.
Yeah, oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so a question I'll pose to the lot of you: which of the scenes in that trailer is a dupe scene that isn't actually in the movie?
Oh, good call. Good call. I'd want to rewatch the trailer
Okay,
Yeah.
to figure it out.
all right.
I'm wondering if maybe the whole thing.
That would be.
I mean,
certainly interesting.
Marvel has proven they've got some real stones.
Mm.
I mean, we watched the Deadpool trailer and like half of that just ended up being nowhere.
Yeah. I think for me, the one that stands out the most is the scene of her on the train shooting beams out of her arms. I think that's the scene right there. That snippet is going to be. It's not going to be in the movie.
No, that makes sense. It would be. I hate to say
Sure,
it.
but so does Hulk running through the field towards Thanos. But
Yeah.
no, he wasn't there. Turns out there's no Hulk in the movie outside of the first 5 minutes.
Agree.
So I think that.
But where I think Doug's coming from is that her shooting beams from her hand is so generic
yeah.
that it probably will be in the movie.
But there's no
Whereas
reason to-
Hulk, but Hulk in the field running gives you an idea of something in the Avengers movie.
It's
like in the
purposely
Infinity War.
misleading.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas like her shooting beams from her arm, we don't know enough about Captain Marvel to give a fuck.
No,
Why
but
is she shooting beams from her arm?
But that's why I don't think there's a dupe scene that's meant to mislead you. I just think there's going to be a random scene that's not actually in the movie, in the trailer.
I'm hoping though that it's not gonna go the way of Star Wars and how a lot of the female characters in Star Wars go through like wardrobe changes every 5 minutes. I'm hoping that kind of thing does not happen.
Well, there's two
In
so
Captain
far.
Marvel.
We see the blue and black Nova Corps, or no, the Kree. What are they called? The Kree Star Force.
Yeah, there's the old uniform. There's probably going to be her new uniform when she's on Earth in present time,
Yeah.
like right. And then there's going to be her civilian clothes, like the
Yeah,
Nine Inch
Nine
Nail one.
shirt. That might not be real.
There you go.
That's a good candidate for not being real.
Yeah. I mean, that's just time placement, right?
Yeah.
But that said, like I hope that it's not much more than that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I was okay. So yeah, a little underwhelming for sure. Aside from Old Lady, that was hilarious when I saw it.
Okay, so I want you to compare. I like how they're introducing the Skrulls because that will set the fourth phase pretty well, right? Because there's the whole huge Marvel arc about the Skrull invasion,
Yeah.
and this will be the introduction to the Skrulls. I remember reading reports that people are suspecting that General Ross, the guy that hates the Hulk so much, is already a Skrull.
Interesting. Since
and
the first movie,
That was
I don't know
that'd
how
be a long
far,
play.
how far back it might go, but
because he was an early character. He was in the Hulk.
Yeah.
sure.
How they introduced him.
But that would be a very long
But
play.
it
And
might
she
have been-
recognized him as Daddy in that movie.
But it might have been something along the lines of, he was hell-bent going after the Hulk, and then suddenly he backed off, and that could be when the change happened. When the Skrull took over, who's not, all about getting Bruce Banner,
Yeah.
because the
fair
Skrull just wouldn't give a fuck.
enough. Yeah. It's very true. Well, we certainly shall see.
Compare Captain Marvel to Superman. Because they are, okay, all, like, power-wise, let's say they're pretty much the same. What I'm talking about their character, like their
Oh, okay.
leadership abilities, their truth, justice, American way kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Superman takes on the Boy Scout role. Captain Marvel will probably
It's like
do
she's
something
more
like that.
morally ambiguous, actually, because I think the trailer implies that she's, and Samuel L. Jackson says it. It says, "I know a renegade soldier when I see one."
But I
So
think
she's
that's
fallen
always,
from grace, I think, probably.
But I think that's always been the Marvel line that the good guys are only one step away from being bad guys.
But
Like it only takes one change.
the fall from grace is a typical movie trope where, you have your character, they fall, and then the rest of the movie they kind of
Redemption.
regain. Yeah.
That's kind of like half the movies in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe. Like the first Thor was like that. First Iron Man, in a way, was like that. First Hulk was like that.
Most
actually.
superhero movies are like that because the hero has to overcome.
Yeah.
It's
that's how you become the
it's
hero.
the hero of 1,000 faces. Yeah.
I think that may have been the problem with the original Captain America film. His overcoming something was just
You're a
inject the
celebrity.
super season. Yeah.
No,
Inject the
his
super serum.
overcoming stuff was he was like a scrawny little
Yeah.
loser kid.
But that's
Yeah, but the
nothing you
serum
can
took care of
overcome.
that. The overcoming really came from the fact that they didn't have a use for him after they made him, and they made
Yeah.
him just tour the country as a fucking performer,
That's
and then
true,
had to
yeah.
prove
Right, like-
himself as a capable commander, and got
Right,
out
like
there and rescued
Thor
people.
had an actual arc where he was, noble and then literally cast down. Right? And Hulk was much the same.
But Captain America without the serum had to overcome bullying and stuff like that.
and a lack of pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's true.
Wow.
So yeah, that'll obviously that's
And
gonna
now
happen
that he's
again.
Captain America, he just doesn't understand it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I do this without breaking it? All I can picture, Chris Evans.
I just think, wait, what are you doing? Put your clothes back on. We have work to do.
Oh boy. But I also I do think that that's the direction that they're going in, and I think straight from minute one in that movie, is when she hits the blockbuster, and I think Jude Law's character, which now it's looking a bit ambiguous. Maybe he's not Marvel. Maybe he's not.
No, he's
No,
I
I,
don't
thought
think
we
that he
established
is.
he's Marvel.
I don't think that that's true necessarily. The Wikipedia is certainly convinced that he is, but I think there's a little bit of reason to think he might be the villain.
Sure, he could come back as the villain. I mean, that would make it typical movie.
Yeah.
Like, that would be typical movie stuff. But how it's going to start is they're going to start in some, like, intergalactic mission,
yeah.
and that's how she's going to fall. Like, in the first
Yeah.
10
It's
minutes.
the first 5
it's-
minutes. Yeah.
that's how she falls from grace.
Yeah.
Because the mission will be a failure. She'll do something that's, like, off book, and things will fall apart.
Someone will frame her.
Jude Law will get, like, upset, but, like, she'll still keep her close, or he'll still keep her close, and come on, I think we've pretty much figured this movie out,
Yeah.
right?
They could surprise us, but yeah, it seems pretty standard.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a quote-unquote Phase 1 movie, just in Phase 4.
3.
But because
We're still in 3.
we're still in 3.
Is this 3? I thought this was intro 4.
No, the next Avengers movie is the end of 4.
No, can't be the end of 4.
Yep, it is.
Or sorry, the
And
end of 3. End of 3.
Okay,
sorry, end
thank
of
you.
3.
So it's-
Beginning
Okay.
of 4. It's
Yeah.
that's the transition
Okay.
movie.
Fair enough.
It always begins and ends with an Avengers movie,
okay.
minus Phase 1. Like
Well,
that
yeah.
one started with an Iron Man, but yeah.
That's not true. Ant-Man was the end of Phase 2. So Ant-Man's kind of its own thing.
Wasn't Avengers 2 Age of Ultron the ending and beginning of the new one?
Well, no, it just introduced some. Civil War was the beginning of Phase 3, which is kind of an Avengers movie. But no, Ant-Man was in between. But it's its own thing, right? I think that's kind of been the running thing, is that Ant-Man's in the same universe, but very much separate, as opposed to the rest of them that have already been interacting with each other on a regular
Are we
basis.
going to... But then, does that not also hold true for Captain Marvel? Captain Marvel is probably not going to be an Avenger. And it could
Oh, I
just
think
hang
she
out
will.
on...
No, that said, you can say the same about Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, Guardians is the
They're
same.
separate, but
They're separate, but the same. In the same universe, but separate. Sort of. Guardians 1, actually, transitioning.
Tell me. Transition.
And we're going to we talk about our rewatches now.
Okay.
We're
We're actually going into that right away.
right away. Well,
No.
Wow.
It's
I
an
wanted to
appropriate
transition
segue.
earlier with the Skrulls
Oh.
and the Changelings. I could have done it. I didn't.
Oh.
We'll save it.
But no, this is very relevant because
We'll do that trick that we do called calling back.
right.
Ah.
Right. So
Yeah.
when we mention it later on, when we're actually talking about our rewatches, we'll call back to our earlier discussions with the Captain Marvel.
Okay. All right. So what do we move on to then?
Look at us. We're like professionals. Speaking of which, because like Carl Danvers is the Superman type character.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill is just like, well, fuck
Oh,
it. I don't
yeah.
want to be Superman
No,
anymore.
he doesn't want to be Superman anymore, and it only stands to reason because it's sucked mostly.
I get from his stance, like as an actor, getting the fuck away from the DC universe
Yeah.
because it's a sinking ship to the point where like
Yeah.
I'm a diehard DC comic fan and the comic sales are through the roof. They've never been better.
Yeah.
The extended universe, like the cinematic universe, is so bad.
Yeah. And they're doing good things elsewise. The TV shows are all great. Right? They're all doing quite well.
Sort of. I mean, like they're all CW shows, so they're all campy, like teeny bopper.
yeah, but they're doing well.
drama.
Well, not Gotham, right? Is Gotham still on?
Gotham's still doing well.
Yeah.
It's not part of that Arrowverse,
Yeah.
but that's why it's doing well. I personally don't like it because I'm a purist when it comes to my DC.
Right.
They can't because the thing is they're introducing the villains, and there's no Batman yet.
Yeah.
And I've always liked the fact that you never really knew if it was because Batman showed up that the villains came, or because the villains came, Batman showed up.
Yeah.
Like you don't know, chicken egg scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for clearing my throat. But we can even transition right into the next one because the comic book universe is doing so well. They're getting away with showing Batman's peen all over the comic book pages.
Well,
Robin.
Now I
I
don't
was
know.
calling it Little Grayson, but okay.
Have all of
Dick
you
Grayson? Yes.
have all of you seen the picture?
I have
Yeah,
not.
it's not really anything.
It looks healthy.
Okay, we're going to play a little game here. I'm going to Google Batman's dick.
I
and we're
needed a
gonna
red
see-
circle to
Oh,
point
is
it
this
out
it
to
right
me.
here? Batman,
Yeah.
Batman's penis in a comic book
Yeah.
for the first time ever.
There it
Yeah.
is.
And
I think they just scrubbed it out. Nope, there it is.
oh wow,
Yeah.
it's very faint.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a knob right there.
Yeah. Okay, so he's cut.
Yep. Well, either
That's,
that or
that's
he's a
amazing.
little.
And they give you on Vox, they give you this little slider to go back and forth. It's not
Well,
perfectly
that's
aligned.
that's
but-
because they're like taking in future issues. They're removing it
Yeah.
on purpose.
Okay.
This was a
Look,
one shot.
I'm aroused. I don't know about you all.
Maybe he was. Maybe
no,
he
but
gets
like
turned
look
on.
at that. That's like
It's a sizable shower. You know?
Or
yeah.
maybe he's grown. Maybe he's grown.
I
a
mean,
bit.
like he just like the thing is he just took off his Batman uniform, as you can see it in
Yeah.
a pile behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would think that he's sweaty, and then once you take it off and the air gets to it, you usually experience shrinkage.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well.
But like if he's like very kind of like jacked right now, yeah, I could see how you would get like just a bit of a chub going.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're saying he's got an adrenaline rush and a little bit of a little wood pile.
Anyway, moving
What are
on.
you trying to say, Doug?
I'm trying to say he's got like a half erection,
Okay,
A semi.
a semi.
it's
Happy.
enough. I mean, it's enough,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're walking around a gym, that would be all right, I guess.
That's fine.
Yeah, you'd probably
Like
get a.
No guy would be like, "Oh, dude, come on, calm down."
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's not much more to say about that.
No,
Well, I mean-
but we can pull back. The thing was, is I went to the comic book shop the other day. I got the issue, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
And you took it home and beat off immediately.
No, well, the thing was, is like it was only one per customer. See, because I wanted one for each hand,
Ah,
but there was only.
Yep. Oh boy.
So, we'll do a little bit of a callback. Yeah, Henry Cavillier's out, which is
Yeah.
fine.
And Joaquin Phoenix is in.
Joaquin Phoenix is in as the Joker. Now, this is the weird thing for me anyway, because like I'm looking at this, like I haven't done too much research into this movie, but frankly, from what I understand, I always thought Joaquin Phoenix was crazy anyway.
Yep.
is he?
So
He's
I
right up
figured-
there with Jared Leto and Heath Ledger. Like, he's perfect in that sense for the role. And then he's a method actor. He's kind of nuts.
Well,
All they need is Daniel Day-Lewis, and they've got the fucking perfect quadfecta.
no, but like seriously, I thought like Joaquin Phoenix was just like actually messed up, like a real life. He's actually messed up. And I just figured that the movie was just going to be documentary style, following his day-to-day life.
They already did one like that of him
And
as
then
a
they'll
rapper.
just put like a Joker skin on top of it, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
Yeah, no, it could have definitely done that, but no, he's really perfect for the role in the same way those other two guys were, except of course they cut all Leto's good scenes, which kind of ruined Suicide Squad. But in any event, he's in.
I didn't really like Leto's Joker.
No, because they like I said, they cut out a lot of its good scenes.
Sure, but like it's because Leto went the way of the crime boss.
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson went, the clown. Ledger went the anarchist.
Yeah.
Leto went the crime boss. Like these are all personalities of the Joker that kind of meld together, but all of them have kind of just focused on one aspect.
Yeah.
So, what do you think Joaquin's gonna do? Just
I don't know. The Joker
I
is
honestly
such a strange
expect him
character.
just to be like frying eggs one morning, and then like flipping them on the pan, and then laughing or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I don't expect much out of this movie.
No, me
Like
neither.
the director's the guy from The Hangover.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
And I mean, The Hangover was okay, but then it's the same director that did Hangover number 2 and number 3. Maybe like Joaquin's just gonna get roofied halfway through the movie, and he's gonna
Todd
wake
Phillips.
up on top of.
Todd Phillips, right? I knew that.
Is that's
the
the
guy's
director?
name? Yeah.
The
That's the
director.
guy who directed Hangover. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
I just expect him to get like roofied and then wake up on the roof of a casino.
villains shouldn't get their own movies.
why?
I just don't think it will ever really work.
I mean, it's possible that it could work. I mean, we enjoyed Avengers, the most recent one.
Thanos wasn't the star of that movie.
Okay,
Doesn't matter, right?
So
Like-
how
But no, that's what I'm saying. Joker would be the star in this. And
right?
Why
So
do I
how
wanna
the
see that?
villain movies would work is that obviously at the end of the movie they still get defeated, right? But it's gonna be one of those things that even at the very end the protagonist will still find something, which was kind of like a thing from the villain that's just like, I gotcha, bitch. Like the Joker will still get the last laugh.
I guess every other time that
That's how it would work. Otherwise, how else would it work? Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head on
This
how a villain
is
movie would work.
I mean,
well, it could be how they
Killing
become a
Joke
villain.
was good at that.
Could be an origin story.
Sure, but that won't do well.
Like how to be, if there is one time where it worked, Captain America: Civil War is where it worked. You saw, depending on your perspective, you saw either Tony Stark or Captain America become the villain, depending on your perspective. And what I like about the movie over the comic books, by the way, I did go back and read the comic books. Someone suggested I do that. In the movie, you could go either way. Like, you empathize a little bit with Tony Stark at the beginning, where it's like parents get killed by the Winter Soldier. He's all on the side of the government. In the comic books, there's no justification. He's just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to paint Iron Man as the villain in that comic book. So a little bit more moral ambiguity in Civil War, but that is an example of how you could do it. It's just like starts out a hero, a reasonable person that takes it a couple steps too far and becomes the bad guy, right? So maybe that's what happens with Joker. Maybe they're just going to be like, okay, this guy was a little bit unhinged, he's a little crazy. He starts off on a mission to do what he thinks is good, and somewhere along the way he goes fucking nuts.
The issue is that they might push it a few steps too far, and that will lose the audience.
Yeah.
Whereas like a prime example of a show that the hero becomes the villain and it's flawless is Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole series, and it's always just a little step forward and a little step forward, and every time he makes a decision it's just a little step forward, and by the end of the series, if you watch episode 1 to the very last episode, they're two completely different people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But I think Breaking Bad also had the advantage of we knew it was serialized, so they could take those small steps.
Right.
Where in a movie, you don't know if there's a second movie coming, so you don't want to be like... I mean, this is a whole problem that Firefly had. They had this grand design, this whole plan, and then Fox was like, fuck it. No, you don't get that. So then you have this half-baked idea that's not really fully formed, and then nobody's happy because you don't actually get to see where anything goes.
Well, and that falls on the writer. Each one of those methods is genius in its own regard, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to play extremely long game for a show like Breaking Bad to go so seamlessly, and you have to play incredible short game for a movie. And there's high risk for the short game.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of high risk for the long game.
My point is that I think if there is a way to do it, the proven way to do it is the way I suggested. And like another good example would be Magneto, right?
Okay, so you're right. A lot of good villains are always shades of gray.
Yeah.
Joker is not one of them.
Not yet.
Joker has always been that black
Yeah.
character that is
There's-
just morally black.
Yeah.
Like just morally dead and will do anything you don't like. They're just pure evil.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're a demonic spirit, pure evil. Whereas like Magneto,
But I mean,
he does the evil things because he's doing it for mutant rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can empathize with him. With most villains, you can empathize.
But I think Marvel is stronger in that manner, where even a lot of the villains, you can find gray areas within. I can't think of too many Marvel villains who are so innately, disturbingly evil.
Doctor Doom is probably the only one.
Even then,
Yeah.
he's still kind of like a morally gray.
Like he's following his own for domination for
Depending on the depiction of Thanos, I mean, this depiction of Thanos is most
But, okay.
certainly not black.
But like
Yeah.
the thing is that even Doctor Doom has the ability to do nice things
Yeah.
because of his honor code.
Yeah.
But the Joker's always been one of those characters that even when he's following his own moral compass, it is still horribly evil stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
You know, like even when he falls in love with Harley Quinn, he is so incredibly abusive to her that it's evil. Like
Yep, no, it's true.
So it's gonna. I agree with Greg. It'll be hard to have a show like that or a movie without it being a total. I don't want to say flop, but very hard to watch.
it's gonna have to be a writing masterpiece.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
writer will probably should get all the accolades,
Yeah.
Academy Awards, everything it can get if they pull it off like spectacularly.
Yes.
Yeah, because Joker is just not a multi-dimensional character is the problem. It's really not. He's very one-dimensional, can be summed up in a few words, and he only works along opposing Batman.
He's like the
A
stark
hero.
opposite of Batman.
Yeah, like that's
Right.
how he works. He is the antithesis of Batman, of the Justice League, whoever he happens to be pissing off, or the Legion of Doom or whatnot. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. I'm not very excited about it for sure. Moving on, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh well, before we do that, like the
wanna talk
Russo
about Venom?
brothers put out a pick for the new Infinity
Oh,
War
okay, let's do
movie.
that one first. Oh yeah.
Oh, I
okay.
thought you were gonna go into Venom after that, since it's another villain.
Oh no. Well, okay, fine. We'll talk a little bit. Okay, so apparently there's been a back and forth kind of like slip up. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. Say that kind of thing going on with Venom. So the big question is Venom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Now it started with the head of Sony's division in charge of Marvel and the 900 characters they own, all of which are Spider-Man villains. Saying that they would be, and this is her word, adjunct to Spider-Man Homecoming, which is in the MCU. Okay, fair enough. Kevin Feige quickly chimed in apparently a few days later and said, actually, no, there are no plans at this time to include Venom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fair enough. So, the question is,
Yep.
it's been filmed, it's being released in a couple of months. Where would you place your bets if you had to at this point? Hearing
My
what the-
guess is they wanted as far away from the MCU for the exact same reasons we talked about. Venom is not a multi-dimensional character, and it's gonna be hard.
love that.
I will actually disagree with you there, Doug,
Okay.
because they're painting him as the anti-hero,
Okay.
Yeah,
Punisher style.
Are they really?
yeah. That's
Like I haven't watched enough because it never really grabbed me hard enough by the balls to make me want to watch it.
So it's still got that hero kind of story. It's like Eddie Brock. He might have been a thug or something, but he's trying to do the right thing.
Okay.
But he just
Um,
doesn't know how,
Right.
and he keeps doing bad.
Or the symbiote keeps doing bad, and he keeps trying to fight the symbiote, and
Yeah.
they're not getting along.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But before you make your decision, though, I just want one more piece of information I forgot to include before you make your final judgment. They've also reworked the film to be PG-13 instead of rated R, which suggests they're trying to fall in line with Disney's model.
Sure.
So,
But just because you're falling in Disney's model doesn't mean you're falling in Disney's universe.
maybe
I mean,
I'm just
Mulan
saying-
fell into the
Okay,
Disney.
So the way I look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that compare it to what I've seen of the trailers for Venom. Venom has darker tones, whereas the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the whole movies are done with the Ludwig filter from Instagram. It's like bright and happy.
It's very true.
So what happens
Lots
is
of colors.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm thinking that that is probably the main thing, just the tone, the camera filter that they use for the movie is enough for it not to be directly connected. Simply because if they introduce Tom Holland Spider-Man, even in a post-credit scene or something, they're gonna have to change the camera filter, and it's
Yeah.
gonna look.
Part of me wonders if
significantly
they're
different.
doing that to hedge their bet, though.
I think.
If
Sorry, I might have. Go on.
I was gonna say, like, this might be their way of just throwing it out there, seeing how the public reacts, and if they like it, slowly pull it in and see if it works.
So
and if it
you don't
doesn't work, just
necessarily
kick
have
it
to
out.
go all in. You don't even have to include a scene. You can just leave the door open.
All you
Yeah.
need is a Sony representative to say something like that, and it's enough to boost sales immediately because people
Yeah.
who are completely invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will go and see it to see how it connects
Yeah.
when it might not connect at all.
Yeah.
It's very true. Yeah, it could have just been a tactic. It could have just been a backdoor deal between them saying, okay, we know it's not a part of it, but we want it to do well. Do you mind if we mention it? And then it's like, yeah, you can mention it, but we're going to refute it a few days later. So you can create your buzz, but we're going to kibosh it
Wow.
in a couple of days.
It could
That
also
could very well have been the case.
it could
But
have been, but I think it's probably more that somebody
It's not even
threw it out there, and then Kevin just went, "No, not what we want," and had to come back with something
Yeah,
quickly.
But it's not even like he kiboshed it because even
Yeah.
because when Kevin says something, Marvel fans are just like, ooh, I don't know if I believe him anymore.
It's true.
Just because like he puts out trailers that are
Yep.
blatantly false,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
he's losing credibility to the fans when it comes to that stuff.
They've got 9 films slotted for the next 3 years already. They have the dates reserved and booked with the theaters. Not a single title has been released yet. That's how secretive they are with their plan. Because they know
Sure.
they can't. Like at this point,
Yeah.
they're behind the dust wall. As soon as that snap happened, everything else has to, you just shut up. Shut up. Don't talk about it. Let's say nothing. All we can tell them is Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp at the time. It's like those are the movies they know are coming out. Everything else, Black Panther 2, Black Widow, Doctor Strange 2, shut up. Say nothing. And I guarantee you, as soon as a month has passed after Avengers 4, we're going to get a flood of information. When they're
No, we
finally like,
probably
okay,
won't.
now we can say what's coming out next.
No, they probably won't because they'll know that they only need to tell us what's the next year. Because the less they tell us, the more we get worked up about what it could be.
Well, but
No.
you see my point. Is that
Once-
they're,
yeah.
they're very purposely delaying now.
Oh, yeah.
And they're masters of that. So I
Sure.
wouldn't surprise me at all. Sorry, my dog is just fighting with me here while I'm trying to fucking talk. So we'll see. But I take it with a grain of salt. So Greg, you're saying if you had to bet right now, I put a gun to your head and said red or black, is it
I'm
in or
saying
out?
It's out, and it's not even going to do well.
Okay.
People
Doug?
people are going to go because it's what's his name,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, and that's it. Tom Hardy has like the reputation of being like a solid actor. He's done great movies.
Yeah.
I think he's been nominated for Academy Awards or something.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
Something or other. Yeah.
But like, he's a legitimate actor. Like,
Yeah.
he is in the upper echelon. Maybe not A-lister, but he's very fucking close to A-lister.
It's pretty close.
And then he's doing this movie, and it's probably gonna bomb. But it's also one of those things that most movie actors have, which is, one for you, one for me kind of deal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Gets a nice big paycheck, and now he can go do his indie film with Christopher Nolan or something like that.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Doug, what was yours? In or
Oh.
out?
are you in
Oh,
or out?
I really hope it's out. I really do. I mean, as I said before, I've never really been grasped by that character.
I get what you're saying. Doesn't fit. But I will say this though, if it's in, at the very least, the takeaway will be that it's a positive sign that the relationship between Disney and Sony on that front isn't degrading.
Do you think it's degrading?
It's a landmark arrangement they have.
Yeah.
Where Sony was like, you know what, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 did not do very well. We know you can do it better. Cut us in and we'll let you have it. We'll lease it to you on a film-by-film basis. They came up with a 3-film deal. Everybody was happy. We want to see that continue.
Sure. And while Sony is suffering in the overall balance sheet,
Oh, they're getting killed.
I know.
But
Everybody's getting killed. Compared to Buena Vista, which is Disney's film division, they're getting demolished. Like, if you look at the annual totals in terms of box office, it is paltry for everybody but Buena Vista.
Well, you know what? Like, the way I look at Sony and Disney when it comes to their little thing with Marvel
Yeah.
is that it's almost like a friendly rivalry. You know, you got Sony, who was crossing the street, slipped on the curb, broke their leg, and Disney's walking by, and Sony's like, "Oh God, I broke my leg." You know, "Oh Disney, you know, you're my best friend. Here, call an ambulance." Yeah, okay. Once I'm off the phone, I'll call the ambulance. One sec. Yeah, Mom. No. Yeah, casserole will be fine. I'll bring a casserole for Thanksgiving. Yeah, okay. Oh no, it's just Sony there. They're complaining about something. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I'll bring. You know what? I'll tell Warner Brothers they're not invited anymore. Yeah, okay.
I think Doug just pulled up the box office totals from 2018. So
No, actually, it's actually overall, and man, there are some big films in there, and there are some shitty films that
Oh, you pulled them up by film.
No, I pulled it up by Buena Vista,
Oh, yes.
and there are some incredibly good films and incredibly bad films.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But if you look at the totals per studio, and that is somewhere on Box Office Mojo you can find, the number will shock you in terms of just how much of a lead they have. Anyway, so let's see. Let's touch on Star Wars quickly.
Sure.
Disney, speaking of Disney, says Star Wars, we're super saturated. I think the market's had enough. Solo didn't do very well. Didn't test well, didn't do well. It wasn't very good.
No one decided to fix it.
No one decided to fix it.
I don't know if you could fix Solo.
Yeah. So they said,
It's hard.
essentially they said film 9 is coming as planned.
Yep.
But for the rest, we'll see. Just put it on hiatus for now.
Yeah, and I agree with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a Star Wars every year.
No.
It's just too much.
It's too much. And this is coming from a guy who will happily see 3 Marvel films a year. But the
But
thing
that's-
is, that's a big universe with lots of unique properties, as where Star Wars is like super unidimensional.
And that's the whole problem.
It's set, and that was the beginning of. That's why they wanted to do the Star Wars stories, is to build that
Yeah.
properly. But they
But
don't.
it always comes down to the Force and the dark side. Like, what the fuck? Where else do they go with this thing?
That's the whole
Solo,
problem.
They didn't really, did they?
Solo?
Yeah.
Probably not, and that's probably why
Okay,
sucks.
so wait, who's seen Solo?
I haven't
I
seen.
haven't, and I don't want
Both.
to.
Okay, so both of you haven't seen it.
No. I'm not a
So
Star Wars
I'm
fan.
talking to a wall.
You are talking to a wall. Sorry, from the last 30 seconds you filled me in on. It sounded
Yeah.
pretty cool. Confirming that Darth Maul is alive. Okay, I'm down with
Spoilers,
that.
yeah. Darth
But
Maul
again,
is-
it goes right back to the Force versus the dark side.
No, it's what it did was it showed like Darth Maul is a fucking boss, right?
Yeah.
Like he
It
is
was the one
such
part
a
of the
good,
first of episode 1 that people liked.
right? But like what happened
Yeah.
was even though he was like quote dead, he still like survived, and he actually like was left to his own devices, and he took over a criminal empire and became the top guy in the criminal empire
Yeah.
without like doing crazy Force stuff, and still was after like Obi-Wan Kenobi
Mm-hmm.
for cutting off his legs. I would too, though. You know,
Yeah,
well,
come on.
you
he doesn't have a dick anymore.
know, it's true. You need your dick.
How does he pee?
Oh, that would have been a great transition to go into Batman's dick.
That's what we should have
Fuck.
done.
Oh man,
Ruined it.
I'm glad you did a callback, but I was hoping you would just like put a little joke in there for
Yeah.
it.
No. But anyway, any thoughts on the Star Wars slowdown specifically? Or
No,
just
but-
a piece of news we wanted to put out there?
I
I
mean,
don't have any thoughts
It
on
was
it.
this was Doug's.
Yeah, I mean, I am the one who actually enjoys all the Star Wars movies. Tries to.
I enjoy them.
Okay, fine.
You haven't even seen Solo.
Yeah,
Get
but
out
he
of
has a beard,
I have a neck beard.
so he really enjoys Star Wars.
Oh,
That's
fair
right.
enough. Yeah.
That's right. I
And
am
you've had
the
sex.
culture.
So. Doug's had sex. Doug's had sex, just not as frequently as Greg. Greg's
It's
a slut,
probably
basically.
true.
Greg's a slut. Doug's a little bit behind. That's all I'm saying.
I like how you're throwing the stones. You're the one.
I know I'm the one throwing stones, and well, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't have AIDS or anything. That's what's
So,
important.
so speaking about
There you go.
AIDS, Loki and Scarlet Witch.
Who both have AIDS? They,
No, they do for their media.
That's
empire
right.
And
yeah,
stuff.
they have
like
all kinds of AIDS.
assistants.
That's right.
and
That's right.
aides.
They must. No, Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen will reprise their roles in separate miniseries starring their Marvel Cinematic Universe characters, Loki and Scarlet Witch. So, no word about what it's gonna be like. No word about budget. We know where it's going to air. It's going to be on the new streaming service that Disney
Yeah.
is going to be launching next year. So, questions that I will pose to the two of you for discussion. First, we'll start with Scarlet Witch. 2019 is upon us. She'll get her own miniseries. The big question is, X-Men reveal, yes or no?
They've put her so far out of the X-Men universe that I don't think that it'll be.
They started pulling it back actually because
Did
they
they?
recently released a Marvel Encyclopedia,
Okay.
and it no longer says like enhanced humans anymore.
Okay.
In it, which is kind of like the lead into mutants because Marvel wasn't allowed to say the word mutant.
Well, we didn't have mutants. We didn't have adamantium. We didn't have a lot of the words that we've come to assume with a lot of characters around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my thinking is, we've become used to Scarlet Witch outside of the whole X-Men idea, so much so that to put it in and be like, oh yeah, Magneto's daughter. Yeah, it'd be a little weird to characters, or a little weird to us as fans now.
I don't know. I'd be all for it. I think I can suspend my disbelief.
Okay, so
Okay.
question to you: will she have her accent or not?
No. So, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. That has been explained. I did some research, and the Russos actually came out and provided a very logical explanation that
Did she get
Oh, yeah.
made
bopped
a
on the
ton of
head?
sense.
Yeah.
No,
What is
no.
it? Oh, okay, yeah. Do tell.
So they said she's been hanging out with Natasha Romanoff,
right.
who also had a Russian accent because she's Russian. And
Okay.
they're on the run.
Okay.
They're wanted by the law. You got to change it up. You got to dye your hair, which Scarlett Johansson did.
Mhm.
Black Widow became a blonde. In the case of Elizabeth Olsen, you got to drop the accent, bitch. So the Russo brothers say that in the period between Age of Ultron and the modern day, she's been slowly coaching her to drop the accent. Get her into the habit by living the role. You're an American now, kind of thing.
Okay.
So it is a very
Interesting.
reasonable explanation if you think about it.
Yes, that
No,
is.
it
It
is.
fits perfectly.
It
And
is.
it's one of those things that you can certainly explain away by just having it happen off camera. It's very convenient. I will admit that. I'll concede. It's very convenient, but it does make a lot of sense. And even if they did just make it up on the fly, maybe they did just call up Kevin Feige and be like, yo, we got to deal with this fucking accent thing. How do we explain this? And he's just like, Black Widow is Russian. Oh, of course. Yes, go with that.
I honestly, I think they actually had to have a sit down for it because for someone to come up with that off the top of their head is,
Yeah. Bravo.
you know,
Yeah.
like off the top of your head. Like
Yeah.
imagine being interviewed by Ellen and being asked, why does Scarlet Witch have an accent and then suddenly not?
Yeah.
And like Ellen's in front of you and all those like soccer moms
Yep.
are in the audience
Yep.
and you're just like,
Well, I just got really tired of doing it.
Yeah.
So I had to think of something. That's probably what you would say, but no, it's
That's what you
what I
would say.
I'd be
That's
like,
what you
I
would
just
say,
got tired. I'm
Greg.
so bad at Russian. I just can't do it. But no, that's yeah, it is quite the explanation, and it does make perfect sense. In their words, I'm trying to remember the quote. He says, "Yeah, basically Black Widow has been training her for the last couple of years. And you can't come up with a better teacher. You can't think of a more needing student,
Yeah.
for sure. Because everyone else kind of has it covered. Like Steve Rogers grew his beard.
Yeah.
That's enough for a dude. Just grow some facial hair.
And-
No one will
and
recognize.
longer
you.
So what
hair.
you're saying is, if I was to shave now, no one would know me.
No, people would know you,
Fair.
but Chris Evans is just bland enough.
Oh,
That,
fair.
that
He
his
is
look-
not. He is still a specimen.
Oh no, but he's normal looking. There's nothing distinct about him. He's very good looking, very attractive, very fit, but nothing distinctive about his look. He's just generic.
Okay,
attractive
so
white man.
because you don't notice him doesn't mean half the population, i.e., every female, doesn't notice him.
I think Thor is much more distinctive. The guy looks like a professional wrestler with 6 tits. You know, because he's got the tit armors. You know that go down his.
Yeah, you
Chest.
actually think like he's.
I
more
do. I think he's
attractive?
no, not more attractive, more distinct. He stands out in a crowd more.
Well, he's also got the voice, like the booming voice, right?
That is true.
Like,
That's
there's-
Nordic, like more hell.
You can divide Marvel characters into 2 categories in the movies: those who donned a cap to avoid detection, and those who did not. Thor cannot put on a cap to avoid detection. Captain America did put on a cap and did avoid detection.
Okay, so Thor avoided detection in Ragnarok because he had the little scarf.
That's right. He had a ploof.
Yeah.
I believe
Whatever.
in the original film he also evaded detection by wearing a baseball cap.
I don't think did he?
I think so.
No, I
that's
think
how,
he
that's
was-
how he got around.
Didn't he have his locks out the whole time? His big
I don't
flowing
think so.
blonde
He
locks?
did
I
have
think
blowing
so.
blonde.
I don't remember a cap.
Blowing flan locks. Yeah.
Glowing blonde
blonde.
locks. Best.
I don't remember a cap. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone in the audience can point it out. I don't remember a cap in the first Thor, but you might be right. He was on Earth for a fair bit. Maybe
Yeah.
he did wear one. But everyone else did. Iron Man did. Actually, Iron Man. No. Stark wore a hoodie in Iron Man 3 to hide. Don't know about a cap. He did wear a cap when he was wandering around the town with the kid in Iron Man 3. The kid with the potato gun in the shed.
I know the kid you're
Yeah.
talking about, but like I haven't seen that movie
in
since
quite
it.
some time, yeah.
Um,
But Scarlet Witch did. I know that I saw the screenshot with her when she was hiding. Obviously, Captain America, Bucky Barnes,
So what you're saying is anyone with a hat on, we
Ed
have
Norton.
to assume.
Ed Norton did.
who? Okay, so who hasn't other than Thor?
Okay, Nick Fury, and he had to hide a lot, as I've recently learned.
Nick Fury's like way better though at hiding
Yeah,
than anyone else.
it's true.
Mhm.
And by extension, Agent Coulson's never worn a hat, or maybe he has worn a hat. Not in the movies, anyway. Maybe in the show.
I was gonna say maybe in the show.
Maybe the show.
I heard that in Captain Marvel we're gonna see young Coulson.
Yeah.
Well, you see him briefly in the trailer with the hair. He's got
Yeah.
the hair. He has hair at all. So, but yeah, no. I would suggest people look it up. There was a Reddit post about the caps recently that was really
The
entertaining.
Cap's cap.
Yeah, all the people who have worn caps to avoid public detection. It's actually very interesting.
I think okay. So lastly, we've got Star Trek miniseries.
Oh, we got more. There's more than that. We didn't talk about the Russo pick yet.
Oh, that's I thought that's what we were going into, and then we just didn't.
No, I got to talk about that because the Russo brothers tweeted Instagram a fucking picture saying "Look closely," and everyone was like, "Oh my god, the title for Avengers 4 is in the picture!" And everyone
No.
tore it apart, and it was fuck all in it, except for one cool thing that has been spotted and pointed out. It has nothing to do with the title, but it is cool.
Okay.
So
Are you
Rad-
talking about the 4As?
This is brand new to me because like I
No, it's brand new.
purposely refuse not to like look at this photo
Okay.
or anything.
So
I
And
looked
Jeff,
at it at
like,
work.
figured it out, and he was gonna reveal it to me on air.
Nice.
okay, but first of all, I have to say
You didn't want to tell me like before we even started, so that's fine.
I did, but I didn't figure this out.
No, you didn't, but like you read it and you know about it.
Yeah.
Reddit figured it out.
So
is what
here
you're
it
telling me.
is. So I'm going to put the picture up on the screen. So there is that.
Okay,
In the
that looks
picture.
like some sort of engine, like a car engine.
Yeah, and then in the second one, here's a clip from Infinity War.
Okay, so
Right behind
it
Don
still
Cheadle.
looks like a rocket engine.
The big rocket engine. And then here's the big spoiler in the third picture.
Oh my god.
So for those of you at home that can't see the picture, that is
Oh
a
my
screen
God.
cap from
It's from
Marvel
Marvel
vs.
vs.
Capcom
Capcom.
3. and it's
The
Iron
super-
Man
The
and
super move for Iron Man and War Machine is he summons this gigantic cannon, easily like 2 times the size of the person holding it,
yeah,
and fires a ridiculous beam.
yeah,
Probably like a
the
I don't-
size of the character.
Yeah.
It's as tall as
It's as tall as the character. This beam
Actually, I
is
think
as-
it's taller.
the diameter of this beam is as tall as the character.
yeah.
But that being said, it's like a big Kamehameha wave. It's like any big beam you would see in any kind of geek culture.
Yep.
Even from Street Fighter, you got Ryu's like.
Yep. So
Fireball.
take a look at the picture for
that what we're
yourself here.
talking?
Let's
Hadouken.
compare.
There.
So
Okay.
there it is in the still that was released by the Russo brothers. There it is in Infinity War. It looks like the same thing to me. It's got the ring there on the side.
it
There's the
probably
same
is.
ring. Probably the same prop. And it does look. There's the side ring. There's the nozzle. You've got a bunch of gear back here for the shooting. I mean, it's pretty goddamn close,
Sure.
right?
So Iron Man gets a BFG.
Big fucking gun. Is that
Yeah.
what BFG stands for? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
Yep.
don't think we ever needed to actually explain. That was half the fun of when you
know
got
what,
the
and they
BFG
did-
in Doom.
They did kind of tease about stuff like that because when the spaceship was taking off and Iron Man was chasing after the spaceship
Mhm.
before it left
Mhm.
the atmosphere,
Yeah.
he put his legs together and the nanobots created this bigger rocket
Yep.
to give him more propulsion.
Yep.
So, like, it is possible that
Yeah.
that could easily be something along those lines.
And
I
Tony
would-
Stark has a big grudge to settle now.
Oh, he sure does. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to most in Avengers 4, actually, is when Tony's like, fuck it. Everything's on the table now. And he opens up his fucking, and he's been working on gear for 6 years. He's just like, actually, the one scene I really want to see in Avengers 4 is when he and Cap make up and they gotta fight the final fight, whatever it is in that movie. He gives him a suit. But like, just in
He
case
would
you
never-
came back,
he
I've been
would-
working on this for
He would
you.
never give Cap a suit. I don't think he would
Why
ever
not,
do
though? It
that
would be
because
so
Cap.
cool.
Cap's not really. That's not really his style.
Why must you ruin my boner?
But
No.
He's
that
about
said,
to blow my load.
That said, though, like I love the fact. I think you're right. I think one of the most exciting parts because this is the universe that RDJ built.
Uh-huh.
Robert Downey Jr. built. Like
Mhm.
it's all based on his back.
Yeah.
Everyone has been an extension from Robert Downey Jr. So what happens is like even with Civil War, it was easy for him to go a little bit off the rails and still be everyone still found it acceptable because he's been doing that his whole life, and that's what's brought him great success in terms of inventing things and stuff like that. He just kind of goes off and does it with like an insane idea, but because he's smart enough, he can
Make it happen.
make that idea a reality. So what happens is like when all the cards are on the table, because he's not scared of dying anymore.
Yeah.
He almost wants to die.
Yeah.
So when it's like when he's all in, like that's what I'm excited for because every time you think he's all in, he's not really.
No, he's always holding a little something back.
Yeah.
And the thing about Infinity War that was so great is that they caught everybody off guard. So nobody was at full power, really. There was a lot left in the tank that they could have drawn
Mhm.
upon. Obviously, there were people left in the tank. There was no Hawkeye, there was no Ant-Man. There was a whole bunch of resources that they could have pulled in that they didn't. So
Right,
this is the film where they're going to have the chance to fix that.
Like you got to think that Iron Man did all this while like it all started. He was out on a jog with Pepper.
Yeah.
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 And now he's fighting and defending against being moons thrown at him.
Yeah, and he's just got his
Right?
nano suit on.
And this is just his
Mhm.
little nano suit that he was jogging in not 3 hours earlier.
Yeah.
Right? Like he wasn't prepared
No.
for any of this.
And if Doctor Strange had more notice, I mean, obviously he would have used the Time Stone to its full capacity. He wouldn't have had to just ham-handedly sit there and do super fucking time travel to see different outcomes. He could have taken a few weeks with the thing to really closely examine all of his options, right? Because the implication is the Time Stone takes time to use.
Even it was even though he was using the time stone on an accelerated degree, it still seemed like it was a hasty decision on
Yeah.
his part.
And he only got through 14 million outcomes. That's a really small number when compared to like
The amount of
Infinity.
possibility.
Yeah, like he stopped after a while because he was just like, well, we're gonna have to do with just 1 in 14 million. Sorry, guys. Like I'm out of time. you kind of pulled me out of my cool trance. So this is what you get. So yeah, there's a lot of examples of that where the whole team was caught off guard, and which is what makes that movie great, is because it really felt like an emergency.
Vision got hurt early on and
Yeah.
never recovered.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the movie, the whole movie, it was like them pulling Vision along.
Yeah. Yeah. So you never got him in his full power, which is a shame. 'Cause that could have helped.
I don't know about Wakanda though, even though like Wakanda seemed somewhat prepared.
Well,
I think
just
they're
generally
always prepared.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of the thing. It's just
They're
like
a
last
militaristic
bastion of
society,
support.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they're almost always ready to go to war.
But outside that, yeah, like there was no Ant-Man because
Yeah, there wasn't.
Okay.
Everybody was kind of.
Well, I mean, this was a super surprise. I think that's what the movie wanted to ride it on, and this is something now that we can sit back and think about it. We go, oh yeah, I can see why they got a Tar Heeling. It's cool. They got whooped. They're gonna come back in round 2.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
I mean, Thor himself. If he had known, if he had a few weeks of notice, even, he would have gotten that fucking axe made prior. He wouldn't have had to just like, oh shit, okay, my sister ate my hammer, so what am I gonna do? I've just got my lightning, but he doesn't seem to be weak to that.
he would have had a cooler handle. Like,
Get a cooler handle. Yeah, he wouldn't have had to use fucking Groot's arm.
I don't know if that is more or less cool. I think it's novel.
And hey, you got to have it. I mean, come on. They only have one character that doesn't have his right arm. You got to have another. It's just like a staple of Marvel Comics. You can't just have one dude with no arm. You got to have at least 2. And Cable ain't in it yet. So.
I guess that goes to the next
But
question.
Groot can just regrow it anyway.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to introduce the rest of those, like Fantastic Four?
yeah, no, for sure they're gonna. But that's next phase.
Or does that also mean that we're actually going to get a Deadpool brought in?
We've read the reports that Deadpool and X-Men are part of the MCU now.
Oh yeah, that's
Well-
true. Yeah,
We just read it.
Again, I'm trying to segue in for you guys.
Okay.
Jeez, trying to segue.
okay. Yes. Another piece.
We're just so like, we're
So
not used
immersed.
to you segueing.
Wow.
We're just like,
So yes, Doug brings up an interesting point. So we're still on the topic of Scarlet Witch, by the way. This is where all this stemmed from. But
Oh wow, I thought we were good with that.
no, we're still.
Oh, wow.
I
We're still
think we've
talking
kind
about
of
it.
beat this.
We still haven't talked about the Loki series yet. But anyway,
Yeah, it'll be.
There's
okay.
a Loki series.
So-
Good, we're good.
It's
So-
gonna be Thor Ragnarok, basically. It's
Is
just
it?
gonna be a
It'll be-
bunch of funny characters and Loki doing stuff and funny characters and
My hope is it's a Scarlet Witch and Loki like odd couple type of comedy,
like,
and
I
there
Love
you go.
Lucy's gonna come in and she's
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Oh, Loki, oh, oh, witch, you're always up to something."
Hey, you see?
That's my bad Spanish accent.
in any event, yeah, Kevin Feige did. No, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, said, he said it makes sense when it comes to including the X-Men and other Fox properties in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think we need 2 Marvels, he said. So if you had any question about whether or not Fox properties were going to be included in Disney's most profitable venture, at least in film, there you go. It's been confirmed. And Kevin Feige's going to take the helm.
But it's you know what I mean. But like it's fine. Even in the comic books, they're like, "Fuck, we got to do this like crazy mission." Okay, let's go recruit. And it's like it shows Wolverine at a bar, like drinking,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Hey, I'll pay your tab if you do this."
Yeah.
Deal. Like Wolverine's in, and it's just like a quick little 1-panel scene, and then like it shows someone
Yeah.
else where it's like, "We need Spider-Man with us," and it's like, "I'll pay your cell phone bill." And Spider-Man's like, "Oh, thank God."
I think how they're gonna pull the X-Men in eventually when they do it. It's either going to be through Scarlet Witch, which would be a great way in, or it's going to be another political movie about mutants, the persecution of mutants, and the Avengers, having gone through it already to a degree, are going to play a role.
That's what it's going to be. And that's also going to incorporate the whole Scarlet Witch segue. Because
Yeah.
she's going to choose some side that the rest of them are not, and that's going to create the conflict
Yeah.
because it's someone they've worked with who it's Civil War all over again.
Yeah.
So 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. She revisited another government plot.
Do you think
Anyway.
it's going to go over well though? Because we have panned Hulk for basically being 3 of the same movies, getting progressively better.
I 100% think that movie will do well just because it'll probably be the first appearance of the X-Men in the Marvel universe, and that's enough of a draw
I guess.
to
Yeah.
bring out everybody.
My only fear is that it's going to. My fear in Rotten Tomatoes is we're going to have essentially like a 60% critics and then like a 98% fans.
So, like, just think of the draw Spider-Man had in Civil War.
Oh, I understand, right? Like, but my fear is that it's going to be critically panned for being a pandering movie doing the same thing twice, and the fans are going to love it just because it's got a Magneto or just because it's got a Profex.
Yeah. Well,
Right. And I mean, at that point, that's when you're going to start seeing a crack in the MCU where people stop going or the returns aren't as strong, which means, again, if it starts cracking and it starts drawing back, Disney will start pulling back. Once they realize they're not going to make $2 billion a movie, they're going to draw back. That's what they did with Star
movie
Wars.
won't be the one that does it. It'll be the ones following that.
Maybe.
That movie's going to draw tons of numbers just because the X-Men are in it. Then what's going to happen is, like, Marvel's already done this a bunch of times. They do origin stories for every new hero. So, like, it's the same formula with a different skin on top of it, and it hasn't slowed people down yet.
I guess.
not really, no.
Fair enough. I
To-
mean,
to be fair-
I get what you're saying. Probably in the future, it will eventually get to that point, right? But Marvel hasn't actually failed yet.
Not really.
and that's why I'm wondering if by going right back to that well. Now, granted, this is going to be 3-4 years away, so it's not like you're going back to the same well in the next year,
Yeah.
right? But by going back to the well, all it takes is somebody going. I mean, look how bad we panned Episode 7 for being Episode 4.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
For
True.
Star Wars, how
And-
the
right.
new Force Awakens was
Yeah.
like New Hope.
It was just
Yeah, it's true. And everyone loved it on release, and it did really well. But then it sat with people for a month, and they were like, something's a little off.
and then
And
it
the Last
really
Jedi came out, and it didn't do as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
I
my
get that.
fear, right? Is they go to the well, it's close enough that people go, huh. Everybody loves it. You're right. Everybody's gonna go because they want to see the X-Men on film. 3 months later, they scratch their heads, and when the next film comes out, it just doesn't matter what it is. It could be the best shit ever. You get a half box office draw of what you should.
Now, I think you can attribute that. It's a good example. I'll give you that. But I think you can attribute that phenomenon to J.J. Abrams and his effect on movies. He has a habit of just like as where Marvel will take the same structure and put a new skin on it, like Greg says. J.J. Abrams is literally copy paste.
Oh,
Like
agree.
There's so
When J.J. Abrams does characters, it seems like he takes qualities of past characters. And prime examples are like Luke Skywalker was always good at fixing things.
yeah.
Kind of a Boy Scout. Han Solo is a little bit more of a renegade. Stuff like that. He takes all these character qualities, puts them on little slips of paper, throws them into a hat, shakes up this hat and goes, okay, the first character pulls out a slip of paper, a female. She will be good with the Force, and she will be, okay, so she fixes stuff. And we're going to have a character named Poe, who will be a pilot.
yeah, like it really
You
is.
know?
Like Part
Will
of me-
the droids like Luke Skywalker before? Now the droids will like Poe Dameron.
No, I mean, don't get me
It's
wrong.
very
I
true.
liked the fact they took some of the old archetypes, shook them up, and put them on new characters. But you're right. It was very much just a throw a dart. Who the fuck gets this one?
Yeah.
You know, who's going through the whole movie confused? In New Hope, it was Luke Skywalker. In this movie, it's Finn. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. No, it's yeah. So that's J.J. Abrams. I think we can attribute it to him and his effect on movies and the way he makes films. He makes very enjoyable films, but they do not sit well. It was true for every one of the Star Trek movies, right? The first one was very good.
The first one still sits so well with me.
You like it that much?
The first one I loved. I still love it. The reason why is because I went into that movie looking for space cowboys.
Right, and you
Oh,
got
you
it.
got
And
it.
I absolutely got
Oh, you
exactly
definitely got
what I
it.
wanted.
Yep.
Number 2 didn't sit well with me. Number 3 definitely didn't sit well with
Number
me.
2 got 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Into Darkness was very well reviewed, and audiences liked it at the time. And
Yeah.
as time went on, everyone was like, that was kind of stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still on board with number 1 though. Number
Yeah.
1 was a masterpiece in my mind.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
The
I
lens
like number
flares
one.
were new to me.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like totally into it. Like it
Yeah, fair
seemed
enough.
like brand new and fresh and everything about it.
But I think the saving grace for Marvel in this case, and the reason why it doesn't get old with them, first of all, I like to point out that Marvel did not start strong. Iron Man was great. Universal's contribution sucked. I mean, okay, I'm going to preface that again with sucked in context. I still think The Incredible Hulk was good. It was better than half of the movies that have ever existed, but still, in the context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is the worst. Following that, Thor and Captain America were, like they were fine, but I didn't think any of them was great. I actually thought Thor was like super campy, and the effects and the visuals were worse than like Lord of the Rings that came out 15 years earlier, but very thematically similar, right? Like they could have done way better. We're looking at the graphic right here of all the movies in order, just help remind me. But like, Iron Man 2, again, 3/4 of audience members liked it, critics liked it in that regard. Very exciting when you watch it, but forgettable. All the Phase 1 movies, none of them outside of the Avengers, which ended it, and Iron Man, which started it, were great. It's not like Marvel's just like hit home runs from day one.
No, they didn't. But what happened was those were the necessary building blocks
Of course, yeah.
to it's essentially like the baseball term where you walk like your first and second
So
batters.
the big guy comes up and hits the home run.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very true. But
And then what happens is because the Avengers came up and that was the big guy that hit the home run, it made all the other ones come in.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not saying that they were valueless, but Marvel has gotten 21 films in as of next year or whatever it is, and they've gotten progressively better. Like it's been 10 years. If they're going to start sucking, you would have expected it already occurred. They have been using that same formula, and they've perfected it. Is what
It's because they have that foundation of those other movies.
yeah,
But the problem is we are coming into a new range of introductory movies.
maybe.
But the thing is they have they already have such a solid foundation
Oh,
that
I agree.
like with the introduction of Spider-Man, they had RDJ there to balance it out. With when Ant-Man first came, they had Falcon in the movie. Like
Yeah.
they can pull other properties into it to help spice up the origin
So
story.
are we going to
profile.
see that with maybe Captain Marvel? Are we going to see some intertwining?
They
We
already
already
have
are
with
Nick Fury and whatnot.
Well, is he strong enough as a character to be the intertwining point?
It is
I think
Samuel
so.
L. Jackson, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Again, I'm
Yeah.
just sort of
Um,
throwing it down, right?
They're
Like,
doing the Coulson thing too. So
Okay. so it
I think
ties
you'll see
itself
some
to-
other faces. It's very strategically timed in the 1990s. I think that was done on purpose so that we could see a little bit of a certain Russian spy that turns.
you're also gonna see, because it's young Coulson who's got that like crazy obsession about Captain America,
Oh,
right? Who
Yeah.
had like the Captain America trading cards
Yep.
and stuff like that. So I think young Coulson's gonna like play on that a little bit, maybe.
what? Does she have a trading card he needs, and he tries to get it
but-
out of her?
No, but like I'm just saying, he's on ice at this point, right?
Fair.
So and there's there's a lot that Captain Marvel will have going for it going into it as well, as a result of the films that have come before it, even if the characters don't show up. And well, first of all, we should also mention, in addition to Nick Fury, in addition to Agent Coulson, there's also going to be Ronan the Accuser,
Yeah,
right?
from Guardians.
Like,
yeah.
so they're already
Sure.
bringing people in.
So yeah, it's absolute that there will be enough tie around.
Probably
that we
some
will
Glenn
see,
Close,
yeah.
some John C. Riley from Xandar, maybe.
John C. Riley, they're penning to be the mentor figure for when they come out with Nova,
Right. Yeah.
which will be in the next phase most likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, with the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, they're a lot like changelings. And now that I've been watching DS9,
So what episode are you up to?
okay, so the latest episode I've watched is just started season 6.
Right.
Okay. Cisco had to give up the Defiant. Dax is now in charge of it. And I just saw the episode called Sons and Daughters, where Alexander joins Worf's ship, and it's like,
One of the weaker ones. So let's look this up now. I just want to get a good idea of where we are.
So I put this in our little group chat, how Bashir was a changeling.
Yep.
For the second time. You do recall the one episode where they were trapped on the ship with the changeling. The person that the changeling imitated
Yes, for the
was
second
Bashir.
time. Yes. For the second time, Bashir was a changeling.
Now,
Here's the thing. You find out when they go to the penal colony. Batman's peen.
the callbacks.
You notice that when they go to the penal colony, how Bashir is wearing the old Starfleet uniform. And he has said he's been there for a month. Now, the thing is that was 3 episodes into when they got the new uniforms.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 3 episodes in. So that means for those 3 episodes, he was a changeling the whole time. When I watched those episodes, that changeling Bashir was performing like crazy ass surgeries, right? Like neuro fucking like spinal column surgeries, like crazy intense fucking surgeries. This changeling is pulling off. How fucking amazing are these changelings to pull off like an enhanced human?
Yeah.
Okay, because we found out, he is basically Khan, but nice.
Yep.
Really nice.
Well, he's not
He's
like
a good guy.
yeah,
Good guy.
suck him off. Anyway, but you find out he's a nice guy, and not like Khan, who's wants to take over and become a dictator. A changeling is just able to do that, right? So what kind of education system and brilliance do these changelings have to be able to pull off the best of the human race flawlessly that no one can?
Well, in theory, it is a hive mind, right? So, like, everybody knows everything.
But the changelings aren't connected to... You're right, but they aren't connected to the link.
At the time, well, I mean...
it's like a separate entity all on its own.
Absolutely.
Right?
But
And
for
it's
all we
been alone
know,
for a
they've
while.
learned. For all we know, the Link at that time learned how to do all these wonderful things. And as he was separated from the Link and took on his Bashir persona, he still knew how to do these things.
Okay.
Now, granted, I had to look up a Memory Alpha, and Memory Alpha pretty much said Bashir did the actual surgery on Cisco, not the changeling.
Because in the thing, Cisco was doing his like seeing visions and had to get surgery to block all that. Now, that does not make sense though.
And that's what Memory Alpha said. They said the writers fucked up. They just outright said it. They're like, there's no way this timeline works in any reasonable manner. The changeling
the
wouldn't
starting
be
could be different though.
No, because of the timelines that they're established within, I'd have to pull up the Memory Alpha. They established that the changeling delivered Kira's baby. But for all of the timelines to be laid out in that 3-episode arc, because there was, I think one of the episodes was like 2 weeks long, like in universe, it was like 2 weeks long, right? And then we have the delivery of the baby as well, which doesn't leave enough time for that surgery essentially. So the only way that could have happened is essentially half episode, he's captured somewhere. So
he said he was captured because he went to this thing far away,
Vesta 4 or something like
Vesta
that.
4 for some conference, some doctor's conference, and while he was coming back, that's when they got him.
But again, that timeline, as Memory Alpha,
it said it was over a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's how long he'd been there.
Yeah. Memory Alpha, because once you said it, I was like, I started to think back and was like, you know what? Like, I never even thought of it. Like, I know at that episode, we knew he was a changeling, and I was like, ah.
See,
But
the thing was, I talked about this during our hidden episode that we didn't publish last time.
it's the one that will only
Yeah, we
break
had
out.
technical issues. Sorry.
So
We'll only break it
I
out
mentioned
at
this
like
how,
10,000 likes.
with Bashir, I hated him for the longest time, and it was one episode where Bashir and Jake went down to the surface, and there was like a war going on with the Klingons, and Bashir had to go out of this cave network during all these like bombs going off and get a generator from the runabout, and he did it on his own with a burned arm and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Bashir just gained a shit ton of respect from me because like he's soldiering up, like he's
Yep.
just going pure Starfleet mode, like basic soldier training, regardless of what you are, doctor, infantry, doesn't matter. And he's doing it and getting that generator and getting it back to save the people. That's where I gained a lot of respect for Bashir. And then what happens, I found out he had been in like a penal colony for a month. And was already establishing an escape plan. Like, good for him.
Yeah.
Like, mad props to him. Like, enhanced human, I get that. But you know what? Good for him. Even as an enhanced human, he's still soldiering up and doing the infantry
Yep.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Because everyone, like, my own personal thoughts is that everyone has to put their time in the trenches.
No, of course.
You know, like, doesn't matter what you are. You could be a CEO of a company. You should do, like, a janitor's job for a little bit or something
Absolutely.
like that.
You should be able to do as many of the jobs as you can within the company you run. Right? Fully behind that.
So, like, that's where I really gained a lot for Bashir. Where I've lost a lot was I came into this thinking O'Brien is this, like, decorated war hero, like a guy that's been in many wars, come out alive, right? And I recently watched an episode where Garrick was subject to this drugs on, like, the clone Deep Space Nine, right? And Garrick, who's a spy,
Yeah.
versus O'Brien, who is this decorated war hero who's been in a lot of Starfleet wars. And
Is he decorated, though? I didn't think he was decorated. I think he just showed up to... I think he was in the wars, but basically...
he's
shot a few
considered-
things.
He's considered, of the crew, the one that's had the most experience with war.
Sure, but just because you have the most experience with war doesn't mean either A, you're not a coward hiding behind the lines, or B, you shoot a few things and duck down as long as you can.
Well, but he was a soldier, right? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, he was a soldier.
Sure.
And I expect like a certain standard from soldiers. And the thing is that Garrick, being just a spy, like an infiltrator, mopped the floor with him in that episode. Like,
But-
just like, I get that Garrick would maybe outthink O'Brien, but the end of the episode came down to hand combat, and O'Brien just got beat the fuck up.
But you also have to remember, Cardassian, very militaristic, doesn't shock me that... I mean, think of it like Romulans, right? The Tal Shiar is basically just military intelligence, but they would beat the shit out of anybody else because they've been trained that you will kill this other person or you will die. There are zero other options.
So like martial arts or something.
Yeah, right, like-
you're talking about Romulan karate.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're going to use, but they're going to use anything at their advantage, whether it's a knee to the groin, a foot to the nose, whatever they got to
Sure,
do.
a soldier would totally do that though.
But I'm
Like,
saying
have you seen the movie Private Ryan? There was that one fight scene where they're in this like destroyed house, and it was just there was one knife between these two soldiers. They're trying to kill each other, and
I
slowly.
vaguely
Anyway,
remember
at the
it.
end of the fight, it was like one soldier on top of the other, and he's slowly putting the knife in, and he's saying to the other one, who's like getting the knife slowly put
Yep.
into his chest, he's going shh, shh,
Yeah.
like just telling him to like accept it because it's now over.
it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Don't finish your thought.
I was going to say, I just think Garrick was in a probably higher trained. Also, as a spy, you have to be able to pretty much fight your way out of anything. So I'm not. Also, O'Brien has been desk jockeying since Enterprise, right? So he hasn't been in the field. He hasn't been doing much more than hyperspan or a bolt.
Counterpoint: Garrick has been in a tailor shop.
Yeah, but we don't know. We don't know. We don't know if he's been in the field, right?
Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to bring it up. I just looked it up, so that's why I was quiet doing research. Ronald D. Moore, according to Memory Alpha, says, in response to the often proposed question of the surgery on Sisko, Ronald D. Moore commented, it would have been before Rapture. So, yes, indeed. Surgery was performed on Sisko by the Changeling. What's more interesting is that the other thing that the Changeling would have done is save the Changeling baby
Yeah,
a few episodes later. That makes a lot of sense.
absolutely.
That makes a ton of sense. And also, he is undercover. He doesn't want to blow his cover. Maybe killing Sisko in that moment wouldn't have been the best idea, or maybe he just didn't have an opportunity to do it, kind of thing. But I certainly buy that they would learn human physiology enough to fake it. The Changelings, you got to give the show credit. They very early established the Changeling as being brilliant and highly dedicated.
Yeah.
Like they are perfect. The reason Odo can't do faces is because he's been one solo Changeling his whole life. They exist in a link. They learn collectively like the Borg do. So it does not take a lot for them to learn how to become a proficient surgeon. Right?
As long as one knows a piece and another knows a piece, they'll
They put it
combine.
Right,
together.
but once they go into undercover, like they're away from the link.
Yes.
But they
So at
won't
that
learn
point, what he
anymore.
knows is what he knows. But I mean, clearly, I don't think it's unreasonable for them to assume like once they deploy a Changeling as a spy, he's ready. He's got everything
Now-
he's going to need.
My next question, of course, always sits just like they captured Bashir. Who says 10 years ago they didn't just capture a human and just rip him apart and understand how it all works?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's all.
There's
it
a lot of
takes.
things that could have happened off screen. I think it's a little silly for sure.
Yeah, like it doesn't.
First of all, Ronald D. Moore didn't have to concede that it happened before Rapture. He could have said after. The reason he could have said after was because we have the uniform policy that says they could have been changing uniforms throughout a couple of episodes as the new uniforms introduced.
But my thought on that was they had a Bashir mold already.
yeah.
They just used the Bashir mold. It just so happens to be the previous iteration.
I think it would have been almost cooler if the one on the penal colony was the Changeling.
Oh, and rescue the Changeling?
What do you mean, rescue the Changeling?
Well, they find
Like,
him on a penal colony
They find him on the penal colony. The cover is I was actually captured.
yes.
and then break
months
him
ago.
out.
They break out the Changeling.
Yeah, and then he's infiltrating Starfleet. Yeah, it's true. Maybe that happens.
Bum, 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 bum.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
that would have almost been a more plausible story.
Yeah.
Although because it would also explain like the uniform thing a lot better.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would put the bow on the whole story arc a little bit better. Once the Changeling got back to the station, there would have been that moment where it's like, well, I'm the real Bashir. Or the Changeling would have just done like crazy like stealth infantry and just quickly swap then.
Yeah.
Do like a judo chop to the real Bashir's neck.
and
knock
send him
out.
away.
Okay, so the last time we spoke, you were midway through season 4. I think you had just finished Sword of Kahless.
Yes.
So you saw Arman Bashir. You saw
Arman, which one was Arman Bashir again?
Bashir's
Oh
in
yeah,
this-
yeah.
in
I
this-
saw that. I was halfway through that last time.
Yeah.
Right.
You saw Sons of Moog.
Yes, I saw that.
That
too.
sucked. So the good episodes that you've seen in between. Let's just go over a few of them here. You have seen. Well, you've seen. Oh, there's a lot in here. This is what I want to talk about. You've seen Let He Who Is Without Sin, where Worf goes to Risa and he's so pissed off that people are enjoying themselves that he becomes a terrorist.
Yes.
It is often regarded as the worst episode in all of Star Trek.
Yeah.
It is one
Okay.
of the 5 or 6 people think. What did you think of it?
I didn't like it at all.
It was awful, right?
It was. It was just dumb. The
So out
whole
of
episode
character.
was dumb. I liked Quark in that episode.
Yeah.
I kind of like Bashir and that other Bajoran woman who ends up like getting with Rom.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
It's the only plot element that I cared about was like, oh, look, Lita's involved with Rom. That's nice. The rest of it was just like, seriously, you're going to have Terry Farrell in a bikini, but it's a onesie? Like
Yeah.
the one opportunity to show off that smoking bod, and you fucking cover up half the spots. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That was them saving on the spot makeup.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, that was a horrible episode.
So you also saw yourself.
You also saw.
The thing is, there's just so many that are like, oh god, all these are good.
They're
For the
middling.
Uniform is good. In Purgatory, Shadow, Inferno's Light. Have you gotten there yet?
Yes,
Two-parter.
I've seen that. That's pretty good.
Oh, this is the one where the Changeling is discovered. Those are amazing.
I didn't. I thought the changeling going after the sun thing, though a decently brilliant plan, should have pulled it off a lot fucking smoother.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, because he kind of just like let it all slip at the end, and that's
Yeah.
how they stopped him. If the changeling was like a legit awesome in like spy, he would have just been done, and no one would have been. You know, no one would have caught on until it was already too late.
Agreed, but I think there's a lot of writer's shield that comes into some of these episodes.
Where they
Where-
have to solve it, right? And they have
Yeah.
to do that. I'm just saying, like
Like-
if it was like a legit
Oh, you're
spy,
right.
Yeah.
If it
wouldn't-
was
no one would have known, and
Yeah.
everyone would be dead.
Yeah. Saw Children of Time, one of my favorites, where they get to meet their own descendants after the
Okay, so actually, this was an episode I wanted to talk to you about.
yeah.
So this is in this episode. Let's just do this quick synopsis of the episode. They go and they discover this planet, and there's this almost this time bubble around the planet. And it turns out that when they originally went there and discovered the planet, as they were leaving, this time bubble stopped the Defiant from leaving the atmosphere, and it crash landed 200 years in the past in the Gamma Quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
Delta Quadrant? Gamma
Gamma
Quadrant.
Yep.
And so there's no way of them ever getting back to Starfleet. Broken ship.
Yep.
75 years away from the Alpha Quadrant. No known, like in the past where there's no technology. Like they're effed. Fully effed. And so they just moved on. They had descendants and stuff like that.
Created a little village on this planet.
Yeah, and things continued. That was great. But we all know Kira dies
Mm-hmm.
because of the standard electrical bolts that I've noticed another Star Trek trope that if you're not a senior officer and you're close to any panel
Oh,
during-
consider yourself
during
drunk.
Oh, yeah,
battle,
that's
it is
it.
blowing up in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Panels explode for some reason.
Yeah.
Like that's where they choose to keep all of like the high voltage electrical
They're
equipment.
all using the like Samsung S7 that fucking the batteries explode.
Yeah.
Like every Starfleet issue panel has a Samsung S7 in it just
got
to
the-
blow up on
Yeah.
people.
It's just the battery, right? Like that's where all the lights come from. That
It's like,
battery.
I get it.
boom.
You know, your ship gets hit by a laser. You have a sudden power surge, but that's what circuit breakers are for. You think that they would be somewhere away from the panel, so that when they melt and they break, oh, okay, it's no big deal. We just got a burn hole in the wall, as opposed to my face blown off.
Wait, we're allowed to put circuit breakers on ships?
Sure.
Shit.
Or like a
Shit.
fuse or something. God.
No, you can't do that. They just put like quarters in all the fuse holes.
Yeah.
So ultimately what happened was Cisco was against the idea of letting Kira die and being marooned on this planet and leaving his son, who's back on Deep Space Nine, alone
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And he was
Yeah.
against it. But then some way halfway through the episode, he's just like, okay, let's do it. Let's do this. Because he saw the 8,000 people that shouldn't have existed in the first place. He didn't want to kill.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have existed in the first place. Are you really killing something if it hasn't technically happened yet?
Yeah.
But it has happened, but it technically didn't. You're not really killing... To me,
No.
you're not really killing those people.
No, you're not.
Because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's a big metaphysical debate. That's really not suited for a podcast like this. But yes, you could go either way.
so what would your decision be? Would you stay on the planet and repopulate it?
Well, this is
Or-
Schrodinger's cat. This whole episode is just Schrodinger's cat with another skin. To call back to
Skins.
something you made. Yeah, it's all about skins. It's all about dick skins, foreskins. So it's basically, it's not until you observe it does it exist in a given state, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, and if I recall the episode correctly, it's not that the ship didn't escape; it's that it split into two ships.
No, that was the plan that the new Dax said.
They made up. Yeah,
That they
okay,
made up.
fair enough. Which is a direct callback to Schrodinger's cat in a much more physical sense. But anyway, So it's the idea that you have a cat in a box, and you have a thing that 50% of the time will release poison every minute into the box.
No. I think the experiment is that it will leak. It's that the timing is variable. You don't know
it
the
will
timing.
leak. You just don't know when it's going to leak.
Yeah.
So like, at any given moment, it could have leaked, it couldn't have leaked, but you have no way of knowing because it's a sealed box. You open the box, you find out. Cat alive, cat dead. But until you open the box, it exists in a state of unknown, right? And that's how a lot of things in quantum physics apparently works. Is that it's not until you observe the state of an atom that it appears to be a solid object.
So to go
Atoms are waves until they are observed.
to go deeper into that, something does not exist unless it can be measured.
I don't know if that's entirely true.
Was that a knock at my door? Somebody just knock at my fucking door during my fucking podcast?
No, I think somebody threw
No.
stuff at your window.
Oh.
No, but like things do not exist unless they can be measured. When yogi people are just like, "Oh, it's the energies,
Yeah.
my chakra."
All right.
No one's been able to measure that. It's
No.
not. It doesn't really
I
exist.
agree to
in the world of
measurements, but-
science.
And furthermore, it's a universe that's already acknowledged that different timelines can exist. You pull your time forward with you is basically what happens is. So those people would continue to exist in their universe. A parallel universe is created every time you have a decision that is made that can have different outcomes.
Sure.
You exist in the one that has the decision that you made in that moment. But so you're not killing them. They're still going to be there in their own universe with their own specific temporal signature, whatever the fucking bullshit Star Trek assigns to it. So I don't think they actually died. I just think that the worry was that they would have effectively died from the perspective of the observers. In the case of Schrodinger's cat, the person who opened the box sees a dead cat, but in reality, the cat's still neither dead nor alive, or it's both dead and alive.
Yeah, just in
The
different
fact that you
times.
observed it didn't really change that outcome.
No.
Anyway, that's a philosophical discussion. I don't know. What I would have done, I definitely would have fucked the shit out of old Odo because he was super romantic, and it felt like he could have used it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the things he can do with the goop, but his goop was inhibited on that planet. Was it inhibited? No, he learned to
No,
uninhibit himself
He just became better at being a changeling.
at being goopy. Yeah. So you never know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Then let's continue on. That debate actually kind of fell flat. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Let's cut it. So
Okay,
you're on
so
Sons and
I
Daughters.
got the sons and daughters.
So he's got some good ones coming up. Season 6 is the best.
Is it?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, it is the best. Favor the Bold, Sacrifice of Angels, you will love. What else you got coming up? Oh, you have the best. Oh, good Lord. You have so many. Who Mourns for Mord? Amazing episode.
Is that the? I
Don't
don't even want to
spoil
go
it.
into it.
Who's Morn?
Mourn's the guy at the bar. That
The
never
one that-
talks, but
yeah.
everyone says talks.
Yeah,
Oh,
the one who
yeah,
won't
yeah,
shut
yeah.
up.
Does he really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then right after that is Far Beyond the Stars,
Yeah.
which is something else. And then a couple episodes after that, we have In the Pale Moonlight. Oh my God, you're gonna love it. You gotta
Cisco
gear
asks-
yourself up.
Okay, I can't actually. Pale Moonlight is like the big one.
Pale
'Cause
Moonlight is
isn't-
the big one. Well,
isn't,
to
like-
me, it is.
Isn't Pale Moon? Which one's the one? Because you said there's been a couple of DS9 episodes that are the best Star Trek episodes ever.
Yeah. So if you're talking,
One of them. We did a list on this on our past podcast.
Yeah. and it
Which one was the
based
number
off
one?
lecture.
my
I think
number
it was a
one
DS9
Yeah,
one.
my number one would be In the Pale Moonlight. But I would say a good 30% of the internet would agree with me, probably. But Far Beyond the Stars, which is also in season 6, is another one. Far Beyond the Stars is a personal favorite of a friend of ours who's not made an appearance on this podcast, which surprised me because he's an astrophysicist.
Okay.
I would not have pegged him to be the kind that would be into an episode like Far Beyond the Stars. Far Beyond the Stars, I'll give you a synopsis because it's not going to spoil it. It's an episode where Cisco has a fantasy. You already established that he has these every now and again, these visions. And this vision is particularly vivid. It's about a certain time in American history that he has to relive. Say no more than that. But it's a social episode. So I was very shocked to find that this particular friend of ours liked this episode the most. But he said, I was talking to him the other night, and he said, "Oh, fuck yeah, Far Beyond the Stars is so good." And yeah, and Far Beyond the Stars is the one that they had a featurette in the DVDs. It was the one that the writers and the producers wanted to showcase. Like, this is our Pulitzer Prize potential fucking masterpiece of writing and television. But in my opinion, Pale Moonlight is the better episode. And you could make a strong case for Sacrifice of Angels, that two-parter, which is also in season 6 as well. There are an endless number of good episodes in season 6.
Okay.
And also one of the worst. So it's kind of hit or miss. But I'll tell you what. I know what the episode is by name. That is one of the worst. Watch season 6. Next time we're on, we'll see if you can guess which one it is.
If I pegged it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, other rewatches that are happening.
This one's on you.
It's
Okay.
on me. So my wife and I are going through all the MCU movies, back on that topic. And we just got past Winter Soldier, which I had also not seen. The reason I had not seen it was because I'm not a big fan of the Captain America character historically. I had not seen First Avenger prior as well. Recently saw that. Obviously liked it. Winter Soldier was fantastic. And I cannot believe I didn't watch it prior. It was so fucking good. From start to finish, that movie was incredible. And what I love most about it is that the movie wasn't about Captain America at all.
It was a political movie.
Yeah.
And that's what Marvel did during second phase was they, at least from my opinion, is that, like, yeah, the first phase was all the building blocks for the Marvel Universe. The second phase was when they started experimenting with making superhero its own subgenre. So there's like, sci-fi action movie, sci-fi drama movie. There's political humor movie. There's stoner comedy, right? Like there's
buddy cop.
Right, you have buddy cop, you have chick flick, whatever. Like, I'm just trying to name off as many movie tropes. So what, like, Winter Soldier was like superhero political movie.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was
Superhero
heist movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was adding genres to the superhero.
Doctor Strange's superhero psychedelic movie, and Lord of the Rings superhero movie is Thor, and
exactly.
Yeah, like fantasy superhero. Yeah, no, it's true.
So anyway, because it was political, amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
it was really well done.
Amazing.
And the way they tied it all together. Oh my goodness. I knew what happened in it, obviously. You can't watch the future films and not know that SHIELD fell apart and that Hydra was part of it. That was given. I already knew the main plot points. But just like everything, the scene with Senator Stern, who they just, Gary Shandling, hey, you want to come back and just film a scene? Totally not necessary, but adds so much texture that where he just leans in and he's like, Hail Hydra. It's like, oh shit, Senator Stern's in Hydra. That makes so much fucking sense. He's trying to put the fucking muzzle on Stark from the beginning. Now we know why. He was behind having his fucking father killed. Like, that's amazing. The way they tied it all together with it, put a little fucking pink bow on it.
One of my favorite action scenes so far in most of the Marvel Cinematic
elevator.
Universe is the elevator fight scene.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the best fight scenes. Even just the setup to it, where, like, one guy's sweating, and then Captain America kind of figures out what's about to happen, and then he just says out loud, "So, do any of you want to get off
before we get started? Does anyone want to get off?" Yeah, it's
Like,
so
that
good.
is so amazing.
I know.
Just like at that point, everyone in the elevator knew what was about to happen, and it was so good.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like 20 guys in a tight space. That should be enough, right? No, it wasn't even close. But yeah, that movie was top to bottom amazing. Kate liked it too. It wasn't quite up her alley. Like, she's, if you're talking about, like, that's in the
And
same.
then he took on the jet after breaking out of the elevator.
Yeah.
He took on the jet,
Yeah.
and he had a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it was legit. It seemed like that's plausible.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit far fetched, but oh yeah, the whole plot to have the carriers kill 20 million people. Another thing I wanted to point out about that movie that I thought was very interesting was the mention of Stephen Strange. That kind of just like flew right by, and very few people noticed. So in the scene where they're interrogating the guy on the roof, right? They got him pinned down. That's where Falcon makes his entrance with the wings and throws him off the building, then brings him back up. And he's like, explain whatever it was called, NOLA, or whatever, the algorithm that Hydra was using to predict threats. It's like, explain how it works. He's just like, I don't know how it works. It's just, it takes anybody who could be a threat to Hydra. Your valedictorian, homecoming queen, Bruce Banner, Stephen Strange. In that whole sequence, they mentioned the people, just examples. And I was just like, oh my fuck. I had to stop the movie. I was watching it with Kate, and she's just like, what are you doing? I was like, I gotta go back and watch that again. Like, did they really just mention Doctor Strange like 3 years before his character shows up? And then lo and behold, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I did some research and about that. And
isn't that when he's in Tibet or something, like learning magic?
no, it was before. So the Russo brothers have been very good about explaining this shit. Because they just, I swear to God, they gotta just be pulling it out of their ass. But each
They're on the
explanation
Ellen
comes,
show.
I know, it's just like, but like each one is so elegant. Like in this case, they're just like, he's a world famous surgeon. We say that at the beginning of Doctor Strange. Like the movie starts, and they didn't direct Doctor Strange. Like movie starts, Stephen Strange is a world class surgeon with unparalleled skill. So Hydra didn't have to know that he was going to be, meet the Ancient One and fucking get all his powers. He was a threat just because he could have potentially saved lives of people.
Yeah,
that
Hydra wanted to get rid of.
That Hydra wanted to get rid of. I was just like, oh my God. Once again, I have a problem, and they just fucking quash it. It's like, no, bitch, you listen.
Which is actually like, it's funny watching you have someone explain things to you so nicely and
it's just like when you complete a puzzle.
Yeah, and
it's
the
just
thing
like,
is that like you as a person, Jeff, are not accustomed to people so nicely presenting things to you, your quandaries with such a nice bow on it.
I know. I always have a problem with the explanation. Always. Like whenever we're having discussions about this and that nerd culture, the story elements and whatnot, like how do you tie this together? Like to talking about the fucking changeling in DS9, for example, talking about, well, the uniform policy could have waived a little bit. Maybe he wasn't in the prison camp from the beginning of Rapture. Who knows? I'm kind of disappointed that Ronald D. Moore, like all that shit. I have problems with. I can come up with ways that his explanation doesn't make sense. Sure. But in this case, the Russo brothers say it, and I'm just like, oh, of course, that would make perfect sense. And it was just a golden opportunity to just shoehorn a new character's name in, just introduce him. Amazing. I was so satisfied when I heard that answer.
How much do you want to wager that at the time they still hadn't had a Doctor Strange movie, even in thought?
Well, it was 2013. No, 2013, 2014. It was 2.5 years off.
It was like 16 which is approximately
I
how
guess,
long
yeah,
it
then
takes
they would
to
have
make
had,
a movie. So if they
it was probably in development at that time. So it was just worst case scenario, nobody will figure this out.
Yeah, and just the way they did it too was so beautiful. It's just like right after Bruce Banner's name. So you the first three examples, I don't even remember what they were because you didn't need to know who they were. They were just like plain run-of-the-mill generic examples of people that could be threats for whatever reason. But then they got to Bruce Banner and your ears perk up. You're like, oh. And then in the next breath, Stephen Strange. They purposely did that so that they had your attention for that one moment. Beautifully done. Elegant. Love that movie.
Okay.
So anyway, probably my new favorite from Phase 2, I would say.
It's up there. It's one of the. It's still in the top 5.
Yeah.
Of all the movies, for sure.
Yeah. I think on that note, 5 is half of 10.
5 is half of 10.
No.
And we're going to.
We didn't even mention. Oh, yeah, we missed over the. Okay, quickly.
No.
Star Trek mini series. We have 4 new series coming out. Star Trek. One about Saru. One about Tilly.
These are all Star Trek Discovery characters.
Star Trek Discovery. One about Harry Mudd, which is going to be great.
That's the Rainn Wilson.
That's Rainn Wilson.
That's
Troop.
Dwight from The Office.
Yep. And he directs it.
Does he really?
Yeah. My Discord going off.
Oh. Your Discord.
My Discord's on right now, and one of our friends just said hello. Maybe you'll hear him on the recording.
So
You very well might.
professional.
So yeah, new Star Trek series is boring. Yeah, boring.
Okay,
Doug's
yeah.
top 10.
Woo!
No. No, Doug's not doing a top 10.
Okay, what is Doug doing?
What's Doug's top 10?
Oh, fuck. All right, well, we did talk about the major studios.
Oh,
so,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we did. So I took a look at 10 years ago, how things have changed.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
So in 2008.
Yeah, 2008. So for the full year, I was looking at the market shares. And you want to start going down them 1 to 10, and we'll see if you can figure it all out.
Okay, so we're not doing dollar figures. We're just doing the order that the studios
Yeah,
is.
market
Okay.
share. We'll start 10
So,
up.
so Greg might not necessarily know all the studios. So
This is why I took 2008. There's only one studio that you may not have heard of. They're all otherwise major studios to
Okay.
my mind.
And usually you give us number 10 as our
Yes.
base point.
So I'll give you, I'll give you 10.
10 was Fox Searchlight.
No, it was
Oh.
MGM.
Oh wow,
Okay.
yeah, they've been
So-
tanking for a while.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that the market share on that is 1.7. So that's our baseline.
Okay.
So number 9 at a 2.2 market share, who is it?
You can give us some hints of some movies they might have.
I can try. Sure.
You click them, it should tell.
Because
you.
like otherwise,
I am. So during 2008,
How about let's you know
Like,
what?
I'll give you the
Hold on,
top
hold on.
one.
Let's do this Quizniak style.
Sure.
You ever played Quizniak before?
No, but
Quizniak is a game where you read clues from the bottom up, and the faster you get the answer, the more points you get.
okay, yeah.
So-
So, you and I will basically just yell out things until we get it.
So
This
Doug,
is, I like
Sure.
these
you
top tens.
list the films from least gross to highest grossed in order.
Yep.
And then whoever gets it first gets the point.
do you want me to tell you how
So
many of them there
basically-
are, so you
basically
kind of
will-
know?
No, you'll start saying what movies were part of that studio, and
yeah.
we got to guess which studio it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn the monitor a little bit further away.
because I
just
think
so we
Jeff's
can't-
been looking at it the whole
Yeah, a
time.
little
I,
bit.
my eyes are not that good.
I don't know.
can't
You're
see.
saying stuff like, "Well, if you click on it, Doug, it should tell you."
that's
exactly
why
Well,
I
I
what
can
turned
it
the
see
is.
the
monitor.
layout of the page, but I can't read it, for God's sake.
All right.
But there's probably symbols on it, and you're just
There are
like,
there are a
number
few
9
symbols.
is
Okay,
Miramax.
all right.
Is it Miramax?
It
I
is
bet
not Miramax.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I tried to
All right.
sneak one in.
I had to move my mic for this.
Okay, give me a film.
The Darjeeling Limited.
Oh God,
You
I know
won.
that movie too. That had like a nude scene with Natalie Portman. That's why I know that.
Holy shit.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Fox Searchlight.
Yeah, actually, holy fuck.
Wow. Okay.
Fuck you,
That's
Jeff.
the
You
indie division.
totally
Woo!
saw that.
I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't.
That's why I moved the monitor, man. I figured.
All right, so 1 point for me. Next
Yeah,
up.
begrudgingly.
Number 8 in the list only had 5 films.
Yeah, and they were from bottom up.
Sex Drive.
Okay, keep going, unless Greg has a guess.
Oh, I'll give Greg a guess. Like, he can just take one wildly.
No, I
Okay. Penelope.
no.
Fly Me to the Moon.
No, I don't have a guess.
Never Back Down.
Universal.
No.
Oh.
And the number 1 film, Twilight.
Oh, that would be. What studio did Twilight? Twilight was done by
I don't know.
Miramax. Didn't exist at that time. Oh, yeah, it was Miramax.
It was not Miramax, but they did exist at that time.
I don't know. Greg, you got another guess?
I don't know.
No.
It was Summit Entertainment. This is the one I
Summit.
wasn't
Oh,
sure. yet.
Summit.
I've heard of them.
I have too.
Yeah.
I even know their symbol and stuff. I said, yeah.
All right. So this one had 19 films that contributed to the
Is the one with the lion that roars?
That's MGM.
Oh,
is MGM.
No, damn.
Okay, this one. Okay, go bottom up. What you got?
Midnight Meal Train.
Okay, I don't know that movie.
Yeah, well, it doesn't shock me. The gross was like the $83,000.
All right.
Okay, next one.
Repo, the Genetic Opera.
Nah, I still don't know.
The Lucky Ones.
Yeah. It's,
Witless Protection. Punisher Warzone.
Sony Pictures Classics.
No.
Searchlight. Fox Searchlight.
I already
This
said
is
that.
not. Yeah, no. Fox Searchlight was like 9, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
It's one of the indie divisions though.
I don't think it's indie. I don't think it's indie. Like,
just,
I'm gonna come up to number 10
yeah.
and skip a lot of the
Okay.
bullshit.
All right.
Okay.
My best friend's girl.
Paramount.
No.
Hmm.
W.
Warner.
No.
Oh, W. Oh, the movie
the
W.
movie.
George Bush. Oh, that is that's Oliver Stone, which means it has to be. He's not Miramax. He's not He's Universal. Universal.
It's not Universal.
I don't know. I'm totally lost.
I'm gonna come up a bit more then, because I don't think you know either the Bank Job or the Eye.
No, yeah, don't know those.
Transporter 3.
I don't know.
I know the movie. I don't know the studio that
Okay.
did it.
All right, who is it, Doug? I think we give up.
I feel so sorry for Greg. He was like, the one with the lion in the logo. And then he was like, the one that roars. I'm like, no. Lionsgate.
Oh.
Sorry, Greg. If you had just been like, the one with the lion, I'd be like, a little bit more.
Whatever.
Sorry, Greg.
No.
You were very close.
I'll
Right.
give myself a half point for that.
I will let you have the half point.
Okay, fine. Okay. It doesn't
Let's
matter.
see.
Half points don't matter. 'Cause
No, they don't
it's
matter.
with an even score.
Real points don't even matter.
Yeah.
Morning Light.
Yeah. Okay.
Dan in Real Life.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas in 3D.
Pixar.
This is not Pixar.
No, that, but it is Paramount.
No, it's not Paramount.
Oh, it's their
The Game Plan.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know all these studios. I can't do this top 10 very well.
I'm going to come way up. We'll just start at 5. High School Musical 3, senior year.
okay. Keep going.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Keep going.
Bolt.
Keep
The
going.
Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian.
Disney. It's a Disney thing.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
This
really?
is Disney.
Huh.
It's Buena Vista.
Wow, that's how low down they were back then.
Yeah.
Doug can tell you what they were in 2018.
I'll give you a chance to guess what their market share was.
It was 60%.
No. You want to take a crack at this, Greg?
20.
From
No.
2018.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
January 1 to September 16, 2018. Their market share is basically 32%.
Oh, okay. Not quite as high as I thought, but
No.
still huge. Still a third
Oh,
of the
yeah.
market.
It's huge.
Yeah.
$4
So
billion this year.
Oh my god, so big.
and at this in 2008, they were only 10%. So they've tripled in size.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to number 5.
Okay.
So, you know what? I'm just going to start at 10 because there's 24
Why don't you
films.
start at 5?
I can start at 5.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we're getting long on time.
Okay. Marley and Me,
Ooh.
27 Dresses,
Uh-huh.
Jumper.
Viacom.
It's CBS Viacom,
But it's-
which is also
it's
Sony.
No, it's not.
It's like a Warner Brother.
No.
Warner's not Viacom.
No.
No, it's
Isn't it? I
Warner.
thought
No.
it is.
No, Warner. Time Warner is a
His
different
own thing.
No,
Okay.
no. If that's where Viacom is under, I'm wrong then. I
Oh.
thought they were owned by someone else then.
Paramount.
No. But
Miramax.
Okay, I'll give myself a half point.
New Line. New Line.
What happened in Vegas and Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who.
Oh, whoever DreamWorks is. Is it DreamWorks?
No, DreamWorks would have been probably under Buena Vista at this point.
No, that's no.
No?
Pixar is.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But no, it's not DreamWorks.
Oh.
It's Fox. I thought Fox owned Viacom.
Oh, no, they don't.
That's
No,
my mistake.
CBS Viacom is the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox.
Okay, all right.
All right. So this one is number 5 is Hellboy 2 Golden Army. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon King. Sorry,
Oh,
Tomb of the
Paramount.
Dragon Emperor.
Paramount.
No.
Universal.
Yeah.
Ah.
I was hoping Greg would just come back with the if it's not Universal, it's got to be this other one. But he didn't. He was just sitting back.
All right, who's next?
All right, number 5, Pineapple Express. 4.
That's Paramount.
That is not Paramount.
What?
No. You don't mess with the
Oh,
Zohan.
no. That's Miramax.
Still wrong.
What? No, it's Seth Rogen's
Step
movie
Brothers.
company. Yeah. John C. Riley.
I don't know.
He has an office there. I thought it was
You can
You're in office there. What is it, Doug?
the Quantum of Solace. Do you want to try again? Or how about Hancock?
He was on Howard Stern. He said,
It's-
"Yes, I have an office at this studio." I could have
Viacom.
swore
Columbia.
Columbia.
Oh.
Like, when you were going for the major studios, I was like, yeah, you'll just keep going. Clearly, no. All right, number 5 on this one. Tropic Thunder.
Viacom for sure.
Nope.
Paramount.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
All right. Let's see.
Viacom.
It's not Viacom.
No, they're not that big. I think they're actually down on the list.
I could find out in a minute. Journey to the Center of the Earth. 4 Christmases. Get Smart. Sex in the City. The Dark Knight.
Dark
Warner
Knight.
Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Warner. Fuck.
Yeah. Like,
God damn it.
like if Greg's gonna get one, this is the
That'll
one
be the
you're
one.
in.
That'll
Like
be
I was
the
like,
one.
oh, I could just say the number 1, and Greg would be like, no, done. Yeah. Okay. Let's see where Miramax comes in. Number 13.
Yeah, they were. That was almost before they were bought.
Yeah. I thought they were purchased up around this time, but I was wrong. But yeah, like this, everything below this is just you wouldn't have been able
Okay.
to figure
Well,
out.
that was a good top 10, guys.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There's the way you do Freddie Mercury down.
All right. See you later.
Well, hold on.
Do we
We
have
got plugs.
Oh,
Doug has no plugs. Greg has no plugs.
Hold on. Maybe Greg has a plug.
Greg is trade baron. No.
Oh,
You see? This-
sticking it to me. Oh.
He is bubble baron.
Oh.
Bubble baron.
You see, Greg, what
he's
this is all
sticking it
coming
me
to.
so hard.
All this means is you need to get your Twitch channel up, running, super subscribed.
Oh, fuck you, Jeff.
That was
That's
the
a dagger.
knife.
It went deep.
Oh,
That
you
was-
burned me so hard.
Oh, that's like
shot to the heart. If you're too late. You give love a bad name, Jeff.
I do.
oh
I do.
man. All right. Any other plugs? You got a new video
My
coming up?
YouTube channel, which you're probably listening this on at this point.
Yeah, but do you have a new video
It's
coming up? Or
technical.
should we?
I am on vacation this week. I decided to take a week off. I am going to film a video this week. It's going to be a rant. It is going to be an educational video, and it is going to put me back on the map.
So basically, you've got a
For like a
soapbox
week.
and you're gonna use it.
Yes.
Okay, so you're on vacation. You can come by.
Yeah, actually,
There you go.
probably.
Sweet. Okay.
Nice. Is this gonna be a stream that Greg can sort of show you on and just be like, play
No,
something?
streaming his setup would be boring because
Yeah.
it'd just be me configuring audio settings. It's really not.
Well, I mean,
It's really just like-
I mean, the idea here is you set him up and then you play a game to test it, but you play with him and boom,
No.
content.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All right.
Yeah.
Trying to
Anyway.
pitch the channels.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
It's been fun.
Later.
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 It's been fun.
Later.